Hello again everyone, welcome back to my humble channel. Thank you for joining me once again. Now we've got this big conjunction about to happen. It's the 21st where I am already, so where you are in the world, in the northern hemisphere, you might be in the United States, Europe, it's coming your way within 24 hours. So a few little things. So we've been saying that Jupiter, this conjunction, it's the Bethlehem star. The media is saying that it's the Bethlehem star, it's a Bethlehem star, it's a Bethlehem star. I think it's got some relation to that. But apparently the Bethlehem star was Jupiter and Venus, which would mean something entirely different. Because it's Jupiter and Saturn, I was listening to a lady last night. I can't remember her channel name, but she was talking about it. And she was talking about, you know, the Mazaroth. She understands all that. That's why I was listening to her. She understood it. And she pointed out, she said, no, stop calling it the Christmas star, the Bethlehem star. And I kind of got on board with her because, you know, it's the media. I mean, they don't have the best track record of telling us exactly what something is. So anyway, I'll tell you what I discovered by listening. It was, remember I was talking the other day about eclipses, and they call it an occult when the moon blocks the sun, or there's something blocking. It just means to block something else. Okay, so when it comes to Jupiter, it's been referred to throughout history as the king planet. And I've discussed earlier on some of my videos that Jupiter represents Jesus. Now, what I mean by that is that it has all the pictures of Christ's wounds. You've got the stripes all over Jupiter. It literally looks like flesh that's been whipped. And then you've got the crown of thorns. You've got these circles that go all the way around. They literally look like thorns that have been pressed into flesh. And you've got the big red spot, of course, the wound from the Roman soldier while he was up on the cross. Can't all be coincidence. I mean, that's just three things I've discovered. And there's also some interesting things with Jupiter's moons, which I've discussed in the past. I don't want to go too far into that, but what I want to point out is the fact that when Jupiter and Saturn have the conjunction, you've got Jupiter, it's going to occlude Saturn. What I mean by that, it's going to cover Saturn, stand in front of. Now, if Saturn, the history that it has, it's kind of like Satan. It's like the king's going to stand in front of Satan. Another interesting fact about Saturn, I was looking at a live stream of the conjunction last night. It was a live stream. It was literally showing you it in live time. And I remember I was learning about this a few years ago at Saturn, that it magnifies itself to appear bigger than Jupiter. It magnifies itself. Now that's in scripture. And if you look at the actual planet of Saturn, you'll see that it's actually a lot smaller than Jupiter. But with its rings, it's like it's puffing itself up with pride. Something to think about. Because I heard that a few years ago and I was watching it last night and it just reminded me of that. And I was like, wow. I was like, that is so true. That's true. It is puffing itself up to appear bigger than Jupiter. Also, scientists and astronomers have always talked about Jupiter protecting the Earth, absorbing all the meteorites that come our way, and it's protected us over and over and over and over and over again. Now, what I'm leading to with this is when Jesus said to the men who were about to stone the woman, that woman represents us, by the way, but I'll get to that later. He said to them, "He who is without sin shall cast the first stone." Now, me and a couple of others have sort of cottoned on to this, that Jesus was without sin. So does he get to cast the first stone? So what I'm getting at is Jupiter represents Jesus, and it's been protecting us from, let's call them stones, like the meteorites. What if he, during the Great Tribulation, lets one pass? Wormwood? He who is without sin shall cast the first stone. Smack bang hits the earth. Now, there's also talk that it's like a mountain that comes out of the sky. Yeah, some interesting things about the conjunction itself is that maybe it's not a Christmas star, or maybe it does represent a birth. Maybe it represents that. But it was very interesting what this lady was saying, that there's so much more to this conjunction than just a Christmas star. She was saying it's representing like the king's age, the righteous king about to take over. It got me kind of excited and happy, because I tell you what, it's like the elite, it's like they are running around right now. They're coming up with new strains of the you-know-what, way more contagious. They're starting to lock down all my borders again. They're saying that they're finding it, I don't know, lick your finger, stick it in the air, you'll catch it. Also, we've got to think about what happens. I mean, a lot of people are starting to say again, like 2017, that sign was the rapture. I think something big's about to happen, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, is it the rapture? Or do we still have to wait and see some other stuff happen? Because I was trying to track forward on the planetary map to see if there was anything else coming in line, or I do see Pluto almost coming in line with Jupiter and Saturn. I do see maybe Mars on the opposite side lining up. It's hard to say, but yeah, to think about what comes after all that, you know. What comes after the 21st? Also, another thing, on the 21st, it's the winter solstice on the same time frame. Exactly. And you know what I got out of that? What is the winter solstice? It's the shortest day of the year for the northern hemisphere. But wouldn't you say it's also the darkest day? The darkest day, this thing appears. This sign in the heavens appears. And then the light returns for some, just like an eclipse, or just like a night and day, you know, like the night comes, but then the day comes again, doesn't it? One more thing, the constellation that the conjunction is happening in, it's in Aquarius. I was looking up like the pictures of Aquarius, for Aquarius, for the constellation, and funnily enough, it's really hard to find one now, but the original Aquarius constellation picture was a man, a strong man, holding a big jar of water on his shoulder, or a big thing of water, and he's tipping it out. So if Jupiter and Saturn are symbolizing Christ and Satan, and it's happening in the constellation of Aquarius, where a man's tipping out water, I was taught in the Mazzaroth, the ancient Hebrew, that's literally Christ, and he's pouring out. I'm thinking three things. It's like it could mean pouring out his wrath. It could mean pouring out his spirit. It could be cleansing. So many ways you could take that. I know that in the Great Tribulation he pours out his spirit and he pours out his wrath. But you've got the angels and the bowls and the vial pouring out. It's in Aquarius, so have a look into that, guys, if you want. That's that just blows my mind. The lady that was talking about the conjunction that I was watching, and she was saying it's more than just a Christmas star. She was saying, I wish people stopped calling it the Christmas star or the Bethlehem star. And I was saying, oh, please tell me more. But when she started saying it's the Mazzaroth, guys, and she was so passionate about it, I thought, yeah, she knows. She knows. Also, another thing, don't know if it's true or not. It's fascinating nonetheless. Jesus was actually conceived at Christmas, born in September, because even scholars have worked out that the shepherds were able to be outside during the star, and in that part of the world it would have been freezing cold and you wouldn't have been out. So, which led me to another thing. If he was conceived at Christmas, and you're counting from Christmas to his birth, wouldn't it be right to say that God is pro-life? You know, you've got that debate between abortion and not abortion, because that's a heavy, hot button debate, isn't it? So Christmas could be a celebration of Jesus' conception. Get you thinking. I remember when all the stars signs started happening in 2017, but before the September 23rd in 2017, there was all this other stuff going on in Leo, and Leo represents the king, the Lion of Judah, where it said he would come the first time as a lamb and then the second time return as a lion. And in Leo, there was all these things going on. Like there was a comet flying into Regulus. There was a comet. It came out of the groin of Leo, and then before before the sign even kicked off or came anywhere close, like before Jupiter really started going in the womb and moving around, it was like a comet came out of the groin of Leo and went into Virgo's womb area. It was like it was impregnating Virgo. So it wasn't just Jupiter showed up in Virgo, started moving around, and then was born. Oh, what a coinky dink. No, it was there was the whole conception. It was like it came out of the heart. One came out of the heart of the lion, and one came out of the groin, like sperm, and impregnated Virgo. It just gets more and more. That's what I was saying in one of my first videos, that once you understand that it's the Mazzaroth and there's how much is going on, it's like a human mind can nearly not cope. I mean, you've got Virgo sitting there, right? Underneath Virgo, there's a constellation of a man wrestling a snake, and the snake's trying to reach a crown. And next to Virgo, oh, that's where a crown is, by the way, next to Virgo. And near that, there's a shepherd with a rod. Is it a rod of iron? It's like a shepherd, but remember it says that he shall rule with a rod of iron. And Orion was also known in the past as, I believe it's Orion, but it's literally a man. There's another constellation near Orion, I believe. I think it's Orion, and he is smiting a snake in a tree because they changed it. So Orion's like attacking a snake in a tree. It's like the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and God wrestling the serpent, and the serpent trying to get a crown, and it's all there. And you've got the scales of Libra. You know, it's scales, and it means justice, and whatever sits in the scales is talking about something. And then you've got the big long serpent down south that goes across most of the horizon, and you've got a cup above it that's pouring out something on the serpent. You've got birds attacking the serpent. It's just, you know, you wish you had more of a lifetime to understand it all. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. You should look into the Mazzaroth more. It's the gospel in the stars. So, yeah, they were the things I wanted to bring to light. And I really do see the elite, they're really all hands on deck right now. Right before Christmas. Right as this conjunction's happening. Another thing that popped up about the conjunction. I live in Australia. I mean, obviously you can tell by my accent. But the Aboriginal are up in arms. The peoples. I don't want to offend them in any way, shape, or form, but they're not wanting to be included in this prophecy about Ayers Rock. It's a big, massive, monolithic rock in the centre of Australia. It just popped up out of the desert. They're talking about this conjunction's going to cause all kinds of havoc, and there's a crystal inside it and everything, and Aboriginals don't want anything to do with it. But I'll save that for my next video. I'm just about to run out of time, guys, but it's been wonderful talking to you all again, and thanks for coming, and Merry Christmas, God bless you all, and I will see you next time.